The courtroom had seen heated arguments before, but nothing close to the explosion that unfolded that afternoon. Police Chief Benjamin Brennan stood in front of Judge Judy, his face burning with anger, his voice echoing through the silent room as he pointed directly at Detective Sarah Singania. "I own you," he shouted. "You hear me? I own you!" The entire courtroom froze. Audience members gasped in shock. Bailiff Bird instantly stepped forward, sensing the danger in the room. Even the attorneys looked stunned. But Judge Judy remained perfectly still, staring at Brennan with the cold expression that had terrified countless people before him. This wasn't just another angry defendant losing control. This was a police chief. A man who had spent 25 years wearing a badge and controlling an entire department. A man used to giving orders without being questioned. And the woman sitting across from him, Detective Sarah Singania, looked completely shaken. Her hands trembled, as years of humiliation and fear seemed to crash down on her all at once. What happened inside that courtroom would destroy Chief Brennan's career forever. But even worse for him, it would expose secrets he had hidden for decades behind his badge and authority. Judge Judy was about to prove that nobody, not even a police chief, was above accountability. Chief Benjamin Brennan entered court that morning with the confidence of a man who believed consequences simply didn't apply to him. At 52 years old, he carried himself like someone used to commanding fear and respect. His uniform was spotless, decorated with medals and service ribbons earned during his years in law enforcement. His posture was rigid, his expression calm and arrogant. For 5 years, Brennan had served as chief of the Oakwood Police Department. Inside the department, officers feared him. Nobody challenged him openly. Complaints disappeared. Officers who disagreed with him were pushed aside or punished. Local politicians praised him publicly for being tough on crime. The mayor openly supported him. Internal Affairs had dismissed every accusation made against him over the years. Brennan truly believed he was untouchable. And when he walked into Judge Judy's courtroom, he made one critical mistake. He assumed she could be intimidated just like everyone else. Across from him sat Detective Sarah Singania. The difference between them couldn't have been more obvious. Sarah was only 34 years old, but she had already built one of the strongest records in the department. She became Oakwood PD's youngest detective after earning the promotion through performance and examination scores alone. Her investigation numbers were extraordinary. She had solved dozens of major cases and maintained the highest closure rate in the department. Fellow officers respected her work ethic and determination, but none of that mattered to Brennan. To him, Sarah represented something he hated. A woman succeeding in a space he believed belonged to men. Sarah sat quietly holding a thick folder against her chest. Exhaustion showed clearly on her face. Months of stress had drained her emotionally and financially. She was raising 2 daughters alone, and her suspension from work had devastated her family. Bills were piling up. School expenses became difficult to manage. She feared losing her home, and according to Sarah, it all started the moment she became a detective. She claimed Brennan immediately made it clear he didn't want her there. At first, the comments seemed subtle. He suggested detective work might be too demanding for her. He hinted she'd be better suited for dispatch or administrative assignments. But when Sarah began outperforming veteran detectives, Brennan's behavior changed completely. He started mocking her during meetings, calling her sweetheart and honey in front of other officers. He reassigned important investigations away from her and gave them to male detectives with weaker records. According to Sarah, Brennan also placed her in dangerous situations without proper support and repeatedly undermined her authority. Things became even worse after she officially filed a harassment complaint. Within days, she was placed on administrative leave. Her salary was reduced dramatically. Officers were warned against speaking to her, and after a short internal review, Brennan was cleared of wrongdoing. Now Sarah was fighting for everything she had left. She filed a lawsuit demanding compensation for lost wages and emotional distress. The case wasn't just about money anymore. It was about survival. Meanwhile, Brennan sat confidently beside his expensive attorney, convinced he would win easily. But what he didn't know was that Judge Judy had spent hours reviewing every document connected to his history, and what she uncovered would soon change everything. As the hearing officially began, Judge Judy immediately noticed Brennan's attitude. Unlike most defendants, he didn't appear nervous or respectful. He leaned back casually in his chair as if he belonged there. "Good morning, Mom," Brennan said confidently. "I appreciate the opportunity to clear this situation up." Judge Judy stared at him for a moment. "Chief Brennan," she said calmly, "Detective Singania claims you created a hostile work environment and retaliated against her after she filed complaints against you. What's your response?" Brennan gave a small smile. "Your Honor, policing is difficult work. Some people simply aren't built for it. Detective Singania struggles with pressure and accountability. This isn't harassment. It's professional evaluation." Judge Judy turned toward Sarah. "Detective, explain your side." Sarah took a deep breath before speaking. "Your Honor, after my promotion, Chief Brennan repeatedly treated me differently from male detectives. He questioned my abilities constantly despite my performance record." She handed over several printed emails. Judge Judy examined one carefully. "Detective Singania," she read aloud, "this investigation requires aggressive field tactics and may not be appropriate for someone of your background." Judge Judy slowly looked up. "What exactly did you mean by background, Chief Brennan?" Brennan shifted slightly. "I meant experience level." "No," Judge Judy replied sharply. "That's not what you meant." Sarah continued presenting documents. "There are multiple emails where he refers to me as sweetheart or little girl during official communication. He repeatedly stated women aren't suited for investigative work." Then she handed over another document. Judge Judy's expression hardened while reading it. "Did you write this email?" she asked Brennan. He hesitated. "Yes, read it." Brennan reluctantly picked up the paper. "Detective Singania filed a complaint today. Recommend immediate leave and evaluation regarding emotional fitness for duty. Internal Affairs should prioritize this matter and document all concerns for possible termination." The room fell silent. Judge Judy leaned forward. "So within 24 hours of her complaint, you were discussing removing her from duty entirely?" Brennan immediately defended himself. "That's standard procedure in law enforcement." Judge Judy cut him off. "No, Chief. Retaliation is not standard procedure." Sarah quietly explained what happened next. She lost nearly half her income. Internal Affairs ignored her witnesses. She remained suspended for 6 months while struggling to provide for her daughters. Judge Judy's frustration became increasingly visible. She began asking Brennan direct questions. "How many women work in your department?" 12. "Out of how many officers?" Over 200. "And how many female officers hold leadership positions?" Brennan paused. "None in active command roles." Judge Judy stared at him. "Not one?" Brennan defended himself carefully. "Policing requires certain physical and mental traits. Men are naturally more suited for street enforcement roles." Gasps spread across the courtroom. Judge Judy's voice became ice cold. "Yet Detective Singania has the highest investigative success rate in your department." Brennan looked irritated now. Statistics don't tell the full story, but the more Judge Judy questioned him, the more frustrated he became. Eventually, Brennan stopped hiding his views entirely. "Real officers don't play victim," he snapped. "People like her file complaints instead of doing their jobs." Judge Judy immediately responded. "People like her?" Brennan was visibly losing control now. "Officers who expect special treatment because they're women." The courtroom erupted in whispers. Judge Judy continued pressing him harder. "You suspended her, cut her pay, and attempted to destroy her career after she filed complaints against you." Brennan suddenly stood up from his chair. "Because I have a department to run," he shouted. "You have no idea what it takes." Judge Judy's expression darkened instantly. "Sit down, Chief Brennan." But he ignored her. Years of anger and unchecked powers exploded out of him all at once. He turned toward Sarah, pointing aggressively at her. "You work for me," he screamed. "I own you. Without that badge, you're nothing." The courtroom exploded into chaos. Sarah recoiled in fear while tears filled her eyes. Audience members gasped loudly. Bailiff Bird stepped directly between them. For several seconds, Judge Judy said nothing. Then she spoke in a terrifyingly calm voice. "Sit down, right now." Brennan slowly realized what he had just done. His attorney immediately tried to recover the situation. "Your Honor, my client is under significant stress." Judge Judy raised her hand sharply. "Your client just screamed that he owns a detective in my courtroom. There's no explanation for that." Brennan sat down, shaken and pale. Judge Judy stared directly at him. "You said you own her. Explain exactly what you meant." But Brennan couldn't answer. Then Judge Judy surprised everyone. She called additional witnesses forward. A former sergeant named Lisa Martinez stood up nervously. She testified that Brennan harassed her for years. According to Lisa, he mocked her appearance, spread humiliating rumors, and assigned her dangerous calls after she complained. She even described an incident where Brennan allegedly cornered her in a parking garage and grabbed her arm aggressively. Then another officer came forward. Officer David Park testified that Brennan openly stated women didn't belong in police leadership positions. He claimed Brennan threatened retaliation against officers who defended female colleagues. The courtroom grew louder with every revelation, but Judge Judy wasn't done yet. She reached beneath her bench and pulled out a thick folder. The moment Brennan saw it, his face lost all color. "Chief Brennan," Judge Judy said calmly, "my research team uncovered information regarding your previous department." His attorney immediately objected. Judge Judy ignored him completely. She opened the file slowly. 8 years ago, Officer Amanda Foster filed a harassment complaint against you while you worked at Riverside PD. The room became completely silent. Judge Judy continued reading. The investigation concluded there was enough evidence to recommend termination. Instead, the department reached a confidential settlement agreement worth $125,000 and allowed you to resign quietly. Brennan looked horrified. Judge Judy continued without mercy. "You transferred to Oakwood afterward, and your new department never learned about the settlement because the records were sealed." Brennan's attorney desperately argued against the evidence, but Judge Judy refused to stop. Then she revealed something even worse. 15 years ago, you were arrested during a domestic violence incident. Brennan immediately shouted back. "The charges were dropped." Judge Judy looked directly at him. "But according to the report, you told the victim the exact same thing you screamed in this courtroom today." She paused. "I own you." The courtroom erupted again. Judge Judy's voice became razor sharp. "This isn't one isolated outburst, Chief Brennan. This is who you are." Then came the final blow. Judge Judy revealed records showing thousands of dollars in suspicious department spending tied directly to Brennan. Luxury dinners, questionable trips, and fake conference expenses. "You abused your authority financially too," she said coldly. "You treated your department like a personal bank account." Brennan looked completely destroyed now. Judge Judy finally delivered her ruling. "I find in favor of Detective Sarah Singania." The courtroom fell silent once again. "You will pay $87,000 in lost wages and an additional $150,000 in punitive damages." Then Judge Judy leaned forward one final time. "Your badge does not place you above the law. You abused your power, terrorized your officers, and attempted to destroy a woman for standing up to you." Brennan sat speechless. Judge Judy's final words cut through the room like a blade. "You believed fear would protect you forever. Today it didn't." She slammed the gavel down. Case closed. Within hours, footage of Brennan screaming, "I own you," spread across the internet. Millions watched the clip overnight. Public outrage exploded. By the end of the week, Brennan had resigned in disgrace, and investigators launched criminal inquiries into his conduct and department finances. And Detective Sarah Singania, who entered court terrified and broken, walked out with her dignity restored and her future finally secured. Justice had finally caught up with Chief Brennan.